Hi everybody, this is Fuji, and today I'm doing a tutorial video on how to add particle effects into your avatars for VRchat. Um, this is just going to be like a simple one, like very minimal effects, not crazy ones that you see. Some of the stuff you're going to need to start off is obviously you're going to need Unity, you're going to need your character file, which I have imported here, and you're going to need the SDK for VRchat. Um, After you have all of that started, you can pretty much start from there. You're going to go up to the asset store and look up particle ingredient pack, sort by free and 5-star rating, and you should find this one. And then you just want to import it in. It's going to give you like a million particles to work with. And I'm just going to show you a few simple ones that you can quickly create or mess around with, and then you can kind of take it into your own hands to experiment from there and make ones that you want. The particle effects I'm showing aren't going to be ones that constantly are with your character, but they're going to be gesture overrides. So if you understand how to do that, it'll be easier for you. If not, just follow what I do step by step and it will work for you just as it works for me. So now I just have to wait for this to finish importing and then we can start. Okay, so now that mine is imported, it's down here. You're going to see a whole bunch of files. I'm going to go ahead and go back to scene where you have your character. You can have the inspector prepared and everything. So the first thing you're going to want to do before you're doing anything else is finding a particle that you like. So you'll see if you drop down the particle ingredient pack, you're going to head on over to the, where is it at? Nope, it is not here. Go to particle ingredient. Oh, there it is. All right, so you go to particle ingredient, drop down that. All of these files are different types of particles. So as you can see, there is a ton. Like, let's see which ones we have here. Breath, I guess I can simply or quickly go over them. Battle gear is pretty much just what it sounds like. It generates a effect that looks like that type of gear. So you got arrows, you have kunais, you have shields that can appear, and you have swords that can appear. And I haven't used those yet, but that's up to you if you want to use them. Breath is more of like a flamethrower effect. So you have ones like this, like this, like this. Candle type, it's just going to shoot a flame up like it was a candle or a different type of fire. This is more of like smoke, and then you have this, which is like a healing effect that you've probably seen in type of games. Once you get down to ones like this, like core type, it has the options of once and last. Once means it's just going to do one playthrough and stop, like this one as well. It's just going to emit its particles and stop. And then last means it's just going to go on forever, pretty much, until you unactivate it. You have crystal type. This one I have not messed around with too much. It's just what it looks like here. And then you have all these other ones that you can work with. And the ones up top are more of like ones that I don't use too much. They're up to you if you want to use them. You have ones like this that I use quite often to make it look like you're channeling power in. Where's it at? Like that one. This one with lines like this, stuff like that. And you can change the color of those as well to mess with them. But now to get into the actual tutorial of how to make one, we're going to start off with a like electricity hand. So if you go on down to the lightning one, find one that you like. That's too big. You have this one, this one. Let's see. I'm gonna go with this one. So what you're going to want to do is set all of the positions here to 0 so that it's lined up with your character. You're going to want to roughly adjust it to be on your hand. I know it's kind of hard to see, but just try and make it look like it's connected to your right or left hand, whatever one you want. If you come down to this drop down list over here, it's actually going to give you the option to edit these. And all of these do different things. I'll go over the settings in a little bit, but I always start off with changing max particles from 1,000 to 100. It's not going to change the way it looks too much, and you're just going to save people from crashing and be a nice guy. Do not upload these with 1,000 particles unless you're evil. If you want to actually resize this, you're going to have to change this one here where it says scaling mode from shape to local. And then I usually just start off by changing the scale on all of these to about 0.5 and then going from there. So once they're all 0.5, you see it's kind of shrunk a bit. I'm actually going to go for 0.2 maybe will be better. Yeah, that's better. So now that's just more of like emitting from my hand. And now you can better see like where it actually is, kind of adjust. So we'll bring it this way a little bit. You don't need to get it exactly on your hand, but you're going to want to try and get it pretty as close as possible. It's going to make it a lot easier for you later on. So let's see, move this a little more this way. And I'd say that's about right. Okay, so after you have that all set up and all these settings are to your liking, you can move on to the next step. But I am going to quickly go over this real quick. So looping means exactly what it sounds like. It's going to have it loop. If you hit simulate here, it's going to have that loop for you. If you take this setting off, then you can adjust the duration to how long you want it to last. So if you set it to 1, it's just going to last that 1 second. Or you can set it to like 12, and this will emit for till this playback time hits 12, and then it's going to stop. But for the one we're looking for, to have it active whenever there's a gesture, I would just keep it on looping, put that back to 1, and that will make it so that it stays like this. And this will make it so if you put this over like your rock and roll gesture, whenever you're holding that gesture down, this will be playing from your hand until you let go of it. Start delay, you're not going to worry about that one for looping. That's just if you're using a one-time one. Like if this was taken off of looping, we want this to last 3 seconds, but have a 1 second delay. This will start after 1 second and it will last 3 seconds and then it will go away. But like I said, we're not doing that, so we can just change these back and go back to looping. The start lifetime here, let's see, what does this one say? Particle will die when its lifetime reaches 0. I don't usually mess with this one too much, but you see if you simulate it and change it to like 2, you can kind of see it slows down the higher you go on this one, and it kind of emits farther. So all these particles will go out and keep going out until it's hit 12 seconds, and then they'll restart. So in order to keep that like crazy looking, you're going to want to keep it at like 0.5. Then it looks like it's constantly emitting energy everywhere. Start speed, you can adjust that as you want. All these other ones I don't really mess with too much. It's up to you if you want. You can change the simulation speed. Like if I change this from 1 to 10 or 12 or something, it'll go insane. So that's up to you if you want to do that. But I would just leave it at 1 for this particular example. Everything else here, pretty much standard. You can leave it how it is. Next thing you're going to want to do, stop the simulation. And you're going to want to rename this to something different. I'm just going to name it freaking Chidori. There we go. Now you're going to want to drop down your armature on the hierarchy and get it where you want it. So I'm going to go all the way up the right hand, and it looks like this one pretty much just goes to the right wrist. So I'm going to drag the effect on top of the right wrist and parent it to that, and you can see now that it's going to be stuck here. So if I, uh-oh, what did I do? Okay, so we're back. Um, I'm not too sure what happened on that last model, but it looks like after I dragged it into his armature, it wasn't working. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that was an issue with that particular avatar, because as you can clearly see here, the Chidori that I set up for this one, which actually has a charge up effect, excuse me, prior to this effect, it works perfectly fine. So just for the sake of teaching you guys, I'm going to adjust this and this, just so it matches the one we had previously. Still not matching the one we had previously. Let's see here. All right, well, we're just gonna work with this one. So now we have this effect going on this guy. You guys should just have this first effect right here. But after you drag it into the armature, go ahead and test it. So mine is gonna be connected to my right hand on this guy. Go ahead and click it. Make sure it's simulating properly and all your settings are exactly how you want them. After all that's done, you can go ahead and collapse this, and it should be connected to him now. So you're going to go ahead and right click on your person and you're going to duplicate him. And then you're going to click on this guy here. You're going to go down to your SDK file, go to examples, sample as, animation. You're going to click on, here, let me delete these for you so I can show you. Uh, you're going to click on this right here where it says custom override, and you're going to hit Control D. When that pops up, give it a second, left click again, and change that name to gesture override. After you have that, go ahead and right click, hover over create, going down to Animator Controller, and name that what you want the animation to be. So I already had one as you saw, but I'll do it again. I'm going to name this animation Chidori. Hit enter. We'll delete the old one here. It's fine. And then there we go. So now we're going to tick this up here at the top right on the original. You're going to go down to your duplicate, drop down everything so that you can see the hand again. Yours is probably easier to find than mine. This avatar has a lot of different bone hierarchies. There it is. Make sure that you only have the duplicate, which should be the name followed by a 1 checked, and you're going to open this animation tab. If you don't have this, all you have to do is go up to Window and go to click animation, and it should bring up this tab right here. So now you're going to go ahead and click oh, sorry. First, you're going to click on the animation controller you have right here. It should be the three squares with the triangle that we renamed. You're going to click and drag this into this animator tab where it says controller. Boom, drop it right there. So it should say whatever you named it. Back to the animation tab, click create. Name it once again what you want to be called. This is actually going to be the file you drag into the gesture override. So I'm naming my Chidori once again. Now it's going to have this. What you're going to want to do is click add property, and you're going to once again go down the hierarchy. So starting from armature, then the hips, then the spine, and then you just want to follow this all the way down until you get to where your particle effect is. So I'm going down, I'm at my right hand now, and there's my particle effect I want. So you're going to drop it down. It should say, see that it dropped down a keyframe here and a keyframe about a minute later. Click the one from a minute from now and delete that one. Your character's going to jump into this weird position. This does not matter, don't worry about it. But you're going to click on the first one now, Control C, click and drag this one line over and Control V. And now make sure you turn this off before you do this next part. Click that, up here should be black, click stop, then hit simulate, and then hit play on this. And if it just looks the exact same throughout the whole thing and your body parts are flailing around, then you did it properly. Now, one more thing I'm going to add here, even though I'm not going to show you how to do it in this tutorial video, is that whatever gesture you override now, when you summon your little particle effect, your hand is going to look like whatever you attached it to. So mine is attached to my right hand, and you see he has this standard open hand. That's what it's going to look like when I have that. So if you know how to do it, you're going to want to add the properties for whatever parts you want to move and change it to whatever you want, like maybe a fist or something for it. But for me, I'm just going to leave it open, and that's not something I'm going to go over in this video. So anyways, back to where we were. We have the animation done here. We have two keyframes. That's literally all you have to do now. So now we're going to click project, left click on him, drop this down, and now uncheck your duplicate, recheck your first one. You're going to want to drop down the hierarchy on your first one, click on your particle effect, and uncheck it. What this is going to do is it's going to make sure that it doesn't show unless you play the gesture. If you leave this checked and you upload it while you're walking around in the game, it's either going to constantly play this and you won't be able to stop it, or it's never going to play even when you activate it. So make sure that is unchecked. I cannot stress that enough. Now drop this down. Make sure one more time that only the original is checked up here and the duplicate is not. Then you're going to go down here where you have the gesture override, left click on that. It's going to drop down this big list for you right here of all your gestures you can override. You're going to look for your little, it's going to be one with the play button. So here's the one I made that says Chidori. You're going to left click on the gesture override and then just click and drag this to where you want it to go. So mine's going to be on, let's see. I don't want my handgun, so right here where it says handgun, I'm going to drop it in here. And that's all you have to do. So now that that's done, you can open up this and upload it, and that is going to give you the uh, the animation. So now whenever you're in game, for me, instead of having handgun, I'm going to have the electricity ball play or whatever ones you set, and I'm just going to show you a few other ones I made real quick, just so you know what you can make out of that. And yeah, okay, so I've officially reloaded my model here, and I'm just going to quickly demonstrate the other ones I have. So in the same hand that I have that Chidori one, I have this one here, and this is what this one looks like. I combined a few effects. It's over a couple of seconds, and there's a song playing for this one. It's going to charge up everything, and it's going to do a quick blast of energy, and then it's going to be a hand of fire. So that's one I made combining a couple effects. We have one more. We have this one, and this one is just an ongoing one that more particle effects kind of show up as the song goes on for this one, and this combines three particle effects as well. So there's a lot of stuff that you're capable of making here. Like I said, if I hide this real quick, in that drop down that we had of like a million things, we have like there's these type of particle effects where it's a field. You have like firework type ones. You have ones that's like fog that shows up. You have more lightning. You have like magic circles that can be spawned if you're like shooting something out of your hand. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can make with this, but I just showed you a fairly simple one, and that same thing can be captured for other stuff as well. So if we just find like, let's see, what do we have? Let's find like a fireball effect like I had prior. Alright, so if we go to like, there's one that's called Unite. If you go here, go to last place so that it stays permanently. If you just find one of these should be like a fireball of some sort. You can have something like this, or you can have this. There's probably a better version of this. There's something called core type as well. Here we go. Core type, make it last. And you can like, let's just use this one as an example. Take this, change this once again to 100. Do the same exact steps we did of the last one of rescaling and resizing it all the way. There you go. Maybe even smaller again for this one because it's so many particles. You don't want people to explode and die. Then you have like this hand of fire you can change the simulation speed to 2 and it'll be faster. Like you can just mess with this in a whole bunch of different types of ways and just you can have a fireball, you can have the electricity ball, have like energy surging from around you, but that's just like a pretty basic tutorial. So yeah, I hope that showed people what they needed to see. I know there's other videos out there, but they're pretty confusing. This literally showed you exactly what you do if you followed what I did step by step. You will have an electricity hand just like I did. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below and I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And if you have any other effects you want to see, tell me and I'll try and make a video on that as well, explaining how to make those. But for now, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching and have fun. Bye bye.